take notes on everything I read or hear, and then I close my notebook, put it away, and never look at it again. So I learn nothing, pretty much. I feel like I learn nothing. So recently I decided to make some changes to how I take notes to better use them. There are two main categories of changes that I have made. The first changes how I interact with my notes. The second changes how my notes interact with me. So first, how I interact with my notes. The way I used to take notes was like this. Pretty unpleasant to look at. I don't know where to look. I don't know where to start. I don't know if there's anything valuable on here. It's just a massive amount of text versus this page in my notebook. Or this page. Or this page. Automatically, when I look at this page, I know that talking about being a servant is explored. Okay, I know wisdom, corrupting speech. The title has done its job in drawing my eye onto the page. The second thing I'm going to notice on each of these pages, and I hope you noticed them too, is a box. There's a boxed off area of text on each of these pages. In this page, I've intentionally added that text to the page itself. But what about times where I forgot to do that? I've come in with a sticky note and provided this for me. What is this box? This is the most important change I've made to my notes. This is my hook. This is my attention grabber. This is what I call personally my thesis statement. This is my emotional trigger. This is my visual trigger. I want to look at this page. I'm looking here. This is my emotional trigger. After I read this, I want my desire to be to deep dive into this information. Okay, so for walk in wisdom, my thesis statement is Ephesians 5 verse 15. Pay careful attention then to how you walk, not as unwise people, but as wise. I don't know about you, but when I read unwise people, I think stupid. You're stupid. And I don't want to be stupid. And this says to pay careful attention to how I walk so I don't be stupid. And so this, I know, is more advice on how to not be stupid, on how to be smart, on how to be wise. So now I want to read and study. The same goes for this corrupting speech. I don't necessarily want to read about corrupting speech, but when I read this verse in Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. I am very anxious to see how my words can speak life rather than death. So now I want to read all this detail. Now that I want to read, I still don't want to be visually overwhelmed. And this page does that. It is text from one edge to the other. I feel like I kind of can't breathe visually. Like if your visual self could breathe, I can't breathe here. I have no space. I have no relaxation mentally trying to read this. My brain is working just at finding where to go on the page. Versus in this page, I've intentionally taken a ruler and a pencil and drawn a line down both sides of my page and left a blank open margin on either side so that when I look at this page, the main block of text that I'm going to be reading is right here. It's nice and away from these edges. It's not cluttering up every single inch of space. And it's a shorter block of text. When there's a shorter text, a shorter line like this, it's easier for me to jump down to the next sentence and find my place than if it is a huge long line like this. I've tried to mitigate this problem by adding dots at each new sentence here, and that does help, but it's just still visually not fun to read that way. Another way to do that if you don't want to leave big margins is to break up a giant page into columns. So here I just write all my notes in columns. So this visually is easier to navigate through in the same way that this is. So that's all there is to it with interacting with my notes. But what about my notes interacting with me? I want my notes to change me. It's the whole reason I write them. I want to be a different person after I learn from others. And that's why I bring in index cards. I did not want to bring in another part to my note-taking system. I'm not that type of person. I'm overwhelmed. I get very overwhelmed with multiple working parts of anything. And so I wanted one notebook and one pen to do all my note-taking stuff. But what I want and what works are two different things, and so index cards. What do I do with index cards? I go back to my notes. I have 2 full pages of text here, 1 small note card here. When I reread my notes, I draw out my main idea that I want to bring into my life. put it on my note card, and then I put my note card in a place that I will access daily. For me, this happens to be this little marker holder because I'm using my pen and my markers every single day. And now when I look at that, I see this card right in the front. If I put this in an index card box and set it on my desk, I probably wouldn't access it very often. So I just put it right here. And because I want to focus on things that I really want to change me, I only do this with a couple of note cards at a time, 2 or 3. That's just me. You can have an entire handful if you want, but these are things I'm going to read every single day. So let's take a closer look at what they say on them. This first card you were saying is just me concentrating the information I read into an easier to digest idea. What I learned about being a servant is from Jesus. And Jesus did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as ransom. So when I go into my day, I can remind myself, I am not here to be served. I'm here to serve. This world is not about serving me. It's about me serving others. But I'm exhausted. I'm burnt out. I have a physical body. I have limitations. And I have to acknowledge that reality so that I can serve. I have to take care of myself in a proper way so that I can take care of others. Jesus is still the perfect example for that. We find out in Luke chapter 5, verse 16 that Jesus often withdrew and prayed. Often. He would be in crowds and there was so much need happening all around him. And yet he would withdraw when it was time for him to withdraw, and he would pray. So not only would he leave, and that gives us permission to leave, to do less at specific times, but how he used that time teaches us how we should use that time. He prayed. And this goes along perfectly with this next note card. This is the third one I'm working on right now, but these are my 2 main note cards I've been working on. This is my uh-oh note card. So this is what I want to be, who I want to be. I want to be a servant. Uh-oh, I'm not able to. I'm not able to achieve my goals. Things are going wrong. This I actually didn't get from the Bible. I got it from The Absolute Meaning by Jordan Peterson. So this card lays out the psychology behind what our brains do when things go wrong. We respond in one of 2 ways when unexpected situations occur. We can be hopeful and curious and still try to get to our goals, or we can think it's helpless. We're fearful and anxious, and we think there's actually no way around this. Our plans will not get us to our desired outcome, and so we need to abandon them. Basically, you start off your moment in time, your day, your hour. You have an idea of what you want that hour to result in. Let's do a super simple example. I wake up and my stomach's growling, so my goal is to eat. That's my perfect future, is to eat and have my stomach stop growling. So my plan would be get out of bed, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, walk to the kitchen, find my cereal, pour a bowl of cereal, eat. Now I start acting on my plans because I think in my head, that is a good plan. That is going to get me fed. My plans are going to get me fed. And why do I know that? That's happened in the past. So I'm basing this on behavior that has worked before. If I had never been fed before, like let's say you had this awesome childhood where your mom fed you every single meal. She brought you food every single meal of your entire life. Now you're 18 and you just moved out, and for the very first time, you're getting food. This isn't the case for most of us, but it's the only way that the story works. So go with me here. You are hungry, and you know from watching your mom that when you were hungry, she would get food out of the kitchen and feed you with it. And you know where she got the food because you watched her go to the store. And you know how she chose the food because you watched her menu plan. You watched your mom do things that can be your plan. This is a story. It's the story of what your mom did. You saw it firsthand, so it was a visual story, but it could be a written story. We can learn from our own life experiences or from other people's life experiences or even made up experiences. So we get a plan and then we act on our plan because our plan told us this is how you get that perfect future. Okay, get out of bed, I go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth, I'm walking toward the kitchen, and the fire alarm starts going off. Well, now I need to address the fire alarm going off or potentially die. I do not have my perfect future of getting fed right now. My perfect future now is going to be I don't die in a fire. My house doesn't burn to the ground. I need a new plan. So let's pretend in my story that my house actually was on fire and I had to leave and call the fire department, and then they sprayed down my house and I could not go into my kitchen and get a bowl of cereal and eat my breakfast. So I now need to completely change my plans. My stomach's growling. After the chaos of everything calms down, I realize my stomach is still growling, and now it's time to get food. I need new plans. A lot of times when something goes wrong and I'm not able to meet my goals, I feel bad about myself. Like I did something wrong. You think you did something wrong deep down inside when things go wrong because your plan just didn't work. So of course you did something wrong. And what is wrong is that we can't tell the future. Seeing it laid out like this, like if my plan couldn't foresee the future, my plan's not terrible. It just needs to be altered a bit. I'm not a bad person. I just am not a fortune teller. That feels a lot less shameful than, oh, look at me, I had these goals and I never achieved my goals. I'm a horrible person. This part in the front, based on psychology, helps me focus on that. But then on the back, I've added in the spiritual element of it. Started by asking myself a question. Can I make a change and still meet my goal? No. When you become aware that it's not possible anymore, you are in revolutionary territory. So normal territory is, this is a small roadblock. I could still just move around it a little bit and get back to my goal. Revolutionary is, this is a roadblock that has completely ruined your plan. You cannot, by a change of behavior, still get to your desired outcome. You have to change your plan or change your desired future. So that's revolutionary. So, what's the first question I should ask when I realize I'm in a revolutionary moment? What is second best? How can Jesus still be the goal? How can I act like Jesus in this situation? And obviously, I need to leave and pray. This goes along with our servant card, where Jesus serves, he takes care of what he needs to take care of, and then he leaves and prays. And so, to me, I need to leave and pray and say to God, my plan was wrong. What is your plan for me in this right now, God? I just get really curious, which, by the way, is on the front of our card over here. Positive response to these unexpected events would be hope, curiosity, and interest. Like, how can I make this work? How can I create a new plan? I'm hopeful that I still can get to some good future. A negative response is how I usually respond to things, which is, oh my gosh, I am anxious, I'm apprehensive, I don't know how this is going to go, I don't think it's going to go well, I'm fearful, I think everything's going to fall apart. So that's not very helpful. So I want to have my response to most challenges. Obviously, if a lion's attacking you, you don't want to have hope and curiosity, you just want to run away, which is why this is a valuable asset to your brain. But yeah, so I want to have hope, curiosity, and interest. So that's this card. I didn't need to go into such detail about it, but so this is who I want to be. This is the process that my brain goes through in becoming this, trying to be this. So that's why they go together. Currently, these are my 2 index cards that I have in my pen container. Just those 2 for now. So those are a couple of changes I made recently that have changed my daily routine a lot and have been helping. I just thought it'd be fun to share. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.